Okay, so I know we're hit and miss on a lot of TV shows. Do you watch Doctor Who at least?
No, and I hate it.
I'm so glad we just have a professional relationship that we'd be like worst friends of all time. Alright guys, welcome back to the Eastern Team Story Cup. If you've just tuned in, this is going to be damn near the end of the series. It's 4-0 at the moment in favor of Millenium. The person who has obtained all 4 of those kills, one away from an all kill himself. Spawning in the top left corner of the map, Millennium's own blue Terran player, Dayshi.
In the upper right, as the red Zerg, it is America. Moosegills.
I just realized why you said that upon zooming into the decal he has over there. Moosegills is a player you guys might not recognize off the bat. To give this guy a little bit of introduction, he actually played in a show match on Base Trade TV not too long ago, a ZBZ versus Hentralisk, and he actually took Hentrals to the ace match, and it was a lot closer than I think a lot of people would have anticipated. I've seen him in a couple of games here and there for North American related events. He's not your all-star player, he's not going to be the next GSL champion, but he is pretty darn good at this game. And this isn't a throw, this is someone who could potentially take on Dayshi. But at the same time, he's playing the European server. I'm not sure why that was the choice. So Dayshi has the home field advantage just through server alone. His TVZ has always been, I feel, one of his best matchups. So it doesn't matter who they send out against him, it's always going to be a rough match. But Moosegills is not someone that's just been kind of pulled out of the ass saying, screw it, let's do it, let's get it over with, end it quickly. He's got a fighting chance.
Well, better map for Zerg than some other ones that we certainly have had, which is why I'm also surprised that Tefl was not thrown out, as Roach Hydra could be good on this. But I wonder what Moosegills has in mind, if he's going to try and tackle Dayshi in a macro game, because why not? Like, if you're being sent out for mostly experience, as they want not to lose 5-0, but they also want to get their players experience usually. You should just play the macro game as opposed to trying oh, I saw a weakness here, maybe I can do an all in, just end it early.
Whenever I see an unlikely candidate come out, I kind of always think at the back of my mind, someone's just going it's not the team manager who says, all right, who wants to play? It's Moosegills being like, yo, I got an idea. I've watched all 4 games. Let me do this. I got this.
Yeah.
Oh, this is an odd request. I have someone asking me, if I sent you nudes, would you sign one and send it back?
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, Reaper coming across the map. That's weird. Haven't had that request before. This is not a great map for Reapers. We're seeing 2 at the moment. If he sees no gas, he may have gone and invested into a 3rd, but with the gas being taken, speed will be out at that very nice, very quick timing, and 3rd Reaper would be more of a burden than an advantage.
Yeah, on this map. Oh, yeah, it does. You, of course, can take on queens, but the problem is that you need a lot. Oh, Reaper. No.
Got a lot closer than I think it needed to.
Yeah, I really didn't do that, but yeah. So usually, if you want to use the 3 Reapers to their full effect, you have a wide open area at the natural that you can still be on the high ground, but still be running away from the queens. It doesn't happen here. If you run away from the queen, you are literally going off onto the ramp and out of the high ground vision. And getting 3 Reapers with that paired with the whole, the 3rd Reaper's only going to be coming out within 30 seconds of speed finishing, it just doesn't seem worth it.
I agree. If he does plan to pair this up with Hellions afterwards and he's just looking to make that secondary push more powerful, I guess I can maybe understand that, but I mean, really, the 3rd Reaper comes at the biggest advantage when there's no speed, when what you just described doesn't happen, when you don't have to back out at the 6-minute timing.
Yeah, it's it certainly does help those the Hellion timing as well. You have more chances of the queens hitting the Reapers, and of course they tank the damage and then heal up later, which is a lot nicer than the Hellions taking damage. But I mean, for the most part, we see most Terrans go for 2 Reapers on this map, and I think that's the best way to go. Although, sometimes I feel like it's a tell. If you go 3 Reapers on a map that is not good for Reapers, it's almost a tell that you're going to go for Banshees, because you want that super heavy hitting combo of 3 Reapers, 6 Hellions, and also 2 Banshees with Cloak.
Well, you know what else is also a really big tell of that?
One.
Yeah, the Overlord.
Yeah, it's when it overloads over it.
when he's watching the starport get constructed next to the tech line.
Yeah, yeah. If they really want to keep the Banshee secret, they can go for like the reactor into Marines. But you know, most people just don't care.
Beecham's actually find Dayshi a little bit exposed here for a moment. It's not a lot of lings that are getting in, but it's enough that's going to be surprised. You don't have a wall down. Thanks for the free SCVs. And,
yeah, that's enough.
Yeah, we get a couple kills here. The Hellies coming out might be able to clean some of these up, but I like that. I like the way he split them. Catches some of the ramp, gets the mule, gets a couple more SCVs here. And with 2 of the segmented off to kill the Hellions, this actually gets him a lot more worker kills than I think he initially intended to get. Dayshi actually bring the Hellions back home. That was a bit of a panic moment.
Yeah, yeah. You have to bring them back anyways off of the creep or off anywhere near the Zerg side, because if you're paying attention in one area, you're not paying attention to another one. So if he had 20 more lings on his side of the map, you lose a couple of Fs and all your Hellions, which is pretty bad, because he is going to want to go up to a very heavy-hitting combo of, you know, having everything possible that he can with those Banshees.
Oh man, the control of Dayshi right now, keeping a lot of these units alive that should otherwise die, including the Reapers, including the Hellions, but we don't see that fast armor being slapped down. So with the Banshee on the way, eating up all that gas with the cloak, we're not going to see those Hellbats come out, but always an option if you can keep these alive for later on.
I was wondering why Dayshi, like, seemed to have waited a little while long to get that second Banshee, but he is getting a second Banshee. The first one, it had joined the army, and it got shut down hard.
Well, let's get cloak now. The Spore Crawler will finish this up, so he's got to be careful where he engages. I should really like the Spore Crawler spread. It's a very subtle thing to have it out here in the front, and it's not a big dedication, but this changes everything. Because he doesn't have a lair, he doesn't have Overseers ready. Oh, he does have a lair, sorry. He just doesn't have Overseers ready to go.
Yeah, if you don't have Spore coverage in the front, as well as, of course, in your mineral lines, then they're just going to kill everything with the Banshee. It's as easy as that sometimes.
Well, there's a lot of this army still alive is the problem. Like, a lot of these islands are low, but if they're not dead, that's a whole extra volley coming out of this. Queen's going down here very quickly.
The queen. She focused the Banshee.
Well, I don't think he saw it right away, or the Overseer was late or something, because, yeah, otherwise maybe he would have. Whatever the case may be, this Marauder's now paired with this, so even if Roaches were the response, that's not going to cut it. The Marauders will actually soak these Zergling hits pretty nicely if he gets in a nice spot in the mineral line here with the 2 Marauders on the edge, have the Hellion sign behind it, but this base has been cleared out.
Well, yeah, they take down buildings so fast, they take down queens so fast. Then if that happens, the Banshee does reign supreme. Unfortunately, it runs into both Spore Crawlers.
Yeah, it's a very strange Banshee to watch die, but the Hellions, the Reapers, like, this is a bigger dedication I think Dayshi intended. He didn't get as much for it as he wanted. Trades out a little inefficiently in the end, but clearing out the space of the drones, keeping Moosegills on 48 workers, I mean, still ends up working out pretty nicely for him.
It's not bad. Of course, by going for Banshees, you do delay your third command center, and then by not having the Hellions on the low ground, you don't have that guaranteed safe third, you know, because you can take on the Ling, pretty much any amount of Lings if you have decent Hellion control, but now he has to wait for a good Marine count.
What, is Dayshi, like, walling off a maze for tower defense over here with his depots? Like, what is... what's going on here with the wall at the front?
You know, if he... Nah, I wouldn't block
anyways. If you connected those to the ramp, actually, that'd be cool for, like, a secondary wall, like, from the command center.
Yeah, I'm, like, imagining if you could do, like, 2 secondary walls, you know, going to the Gas Geyser and then back around, and then also, like, 2... Okay.
Dayshi confirmed ultimate tower defense player.
What's so funny is that after Terran players, they need their supply depots for, like, you know, the 2 walls, and then they don't need them for anything else except, of course, to not be supply blocked.
Put them wherever they're not in the way.
But the easiest way to never be supply blocked, if you guys aren't pro gamers, is to actually feel like you need to build a supply depots to wall. So, like, wall everything that you can, and just, like, be mindful that you want to wall everything, and then you'll never be supply blocked.
Oh, you need that meme with, like, the little blonde girl with the paintbrush, like, wall all the things.
Yeah, exactly. Get to 200, you know, cap. Before 15 minutes. It's legit.
There's no blue flame with this. Combat shields will be finishing up here in just a second's time. 1-1 will also be on the way. This is going to be a really nice timing for Dayshi to hit, and quite frankly, Moosegills, he's got a couple of banelings out, but not enough, I feel. There we go. With another 9 on the way, this is looking a lot better.
Yeah. This is what's powerful about this attack now. I mean, usually it's an attack that has maybe a few, like, Hellions and some, but mostly Marines and Medevacs, and about 7 to 9 banelings is enough to take care of it. Well, with the Hellbats, you need more than that.
Well, actually, the Hellbats will soak up a good chunk of those banelings, but not enough. Cutting back behind this, though, is Dayshi, and on creep, Moosegills gets a pretty good engagement. The Mules count, though, way too low. Was that only 2? He didn't lose any, he just didn't make any. So, 8 more coming up behind this. Or sorry,
Yeah.
6 more.
Reinforcements from Dayshi came pretty perfectly timed. His upgrades are actually a little lopsided. This +2 was going to start a lot faster than his +2 armor.
As long as he gets to that eventually, though. I mean, I like the blue flame investment, so he's going to continue with the Hellbats. Really nice trace to have.
I think so. I mean, it's not like he's really threatened by the 40 pack of Mutalisks yet, so Widow Mines don't, you know, you have to peg on them to get the major hits.
I would like to see him make Hellions and just transformation servos them on the front lines, though. They'd get there a lot faster that way, but it's such a small detail on a map that's not that big.
Yeah, it's not that big of a map. No scan to clear up this creep. He might have just been missing one, mistimed it a little, or I don't know what.
Well, this 4th base could be in for some trouble. The Mutalisk count is starting to build up, though. I mean, it's not out of control, as you said, but it's something, as long as he doesn't lose any, he'll be able to slowly bank them up over time. Lings actually get a nice surround. A couple of Banelings going to get some connects here, and this should drive Dayshi back.
The Muta count is getting a little scary. They're definitely the ones that they're starting to, you know, kind of take it over the edge every time there's a few Hellbats left over.
He's not lost any mutas yet so far. Of course, he'll probably lose a couple here now that I've said that. But yeah, if his muta goes down, he's holding up pretty nicely here. Perhaps over dedicating to the Marines. Yeah, it's like, you really want that one Marine that badly? Go for the Medivacs instead.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you should be targeting the Medivacs more so than the ground army because you know it's so small. The Lings will eventually clean it up. We do have Thors on the way for Dayshi though, and I definitely like that he's adding them so soon. I mean, 60 minutes is a pretty good time to start adding Thors anyways, but it's obvious that Moosegills is starting to really dedicate a lot of gas and minerals into mutas. He's making about like 6 to 7 at a time anytime he thinks of it.
You know, one thing I like out of Dayshi, and we're seeing this out of more Terrans frequently, and I don't know why, there's so many parts of this game that just, they've been standard for so long you don't think to change them. But he builds his production all over the map. That way, if the Mutalisks come to the main and compromise one set of Raxus, it doesn't take away all of his production. Oh, that blue flame hit was magnificent. Takes out all the Banelings right away. But there's not a whole lot of follow-up to this.
That Thor gets saved.
For now.
Boost it out.
There we go.
Oh, that was very, very close.
But yeah, there's a lot of situations in the late game where, you know, Zerg plays sour. I can't engage the army head on anymore. It's too out of control with the Marines. So they'll go for the production. They'll dive through the main. They'll try and pull people back. And Dayshi doesn't have a lot here compared to the 2 Raxus he has over here, 2 Raxus down here. Factory that'll probably throw down around the 3rd later on. I mean, I like that he does this, and we're seeing it more commonly out of Terran players. And I think specifically it's because everyone's sick of getting base traded by Mutalisks.
Yeah, that's probably the reason. Well, Dayshi keeps on pushing in, but he keeps on still, you know, getting about 10 supply behind, which is not a big deal in TVZ. In fact, that's it's pretty normal to be about 10 difference in supply. But he should, you know, and he did. Yeah, he was kind of like trickling in units at a time, but he has waited a little bit longer, now up to 170, and has a very sizable force that can actually take advantage of these ramps.
Banelin's gonna get some pretty good connects running down the ramp. Dayshi, man, being run ragged by this Baneling composition.
You know, I said take advantage of the ramps, and then he didn't.
Yeah.
So
It's like,
okay. The reason that like the ramps can be so good is A, they don't have any creep on them, so you run off of them. Bands are slower, but also a Thor or a couple of Hellbats, they have to break through that before they can get to your Marines, which is, you know, obviously optimal. Keeps on rushing onto the creeps. I don't know why, because he's been doing that the entire game, rushing onto the creep on top of those ramps and then getting swamped by Moosegills. It hasn't worked for him in the past. It didn't work there either. You know, slow and steadier. Slower and steadier.
well, we got Burrow on the way, which I think is kind of cute. I don't think we're going to see a lot of cool Burrow Baneling tactics on here, but it's worth noting for today, guys, in all 5 games we've played out so far, for the first time, we actually have someone really putting Dayshi in the back burner. His supply's down. His bases are, I mean, his bases are fine. His economy's great. His production's up there, but somehow he's still falling out down in supply every time.
Yeah, his 4th in an orbital is kind of interesting. Muta's starting, you know, they're pretty high in count, and now he has a breathing room. He can start counterattacking. There was not a whole lot of missile turrets whatsoever.
Well, let's be honest. Sometimes even if there are, it doesn't matter. Mutalisks are so good with their burst damage.
Yeah. I thought for a while, he had like 2 mutas just waiting on the northern side of the dead space, and I was like, oh, let's like catch drops, because rarely do we ever see anyone like take away a few mutas to just deal with that, and it just rallied today. I don't know if I'm a little disappointed or not by that.
Okay, well, as far as upgrades go, guys, 2-2 for both players, but 3-3, well, 3 weapons at least are finished up for Dayshi in a moment's time. This will make it a little bit easier to deal with this, but he's also been investing pretty heavily in the weapons for his mechanical units behind this. So not only will this make Vikings viable if he wants to go for them later, probably won't, but it's making the Hellbats a lot stronger. Be able to pop off these Zerglings and Banelings with 1 shot instead of 2. Blue Flame adds so much damage, but you know what's worse and crazy to consider, behind all of this, Moosegills has found an area to go for Hive Tech. Normally you're spending so much gas, so much time, so much energy on making extra Banelings, you don't have the ability to go for that Hive Tech. And that's why you see a lot of Zerg players get stuck on 2-2.
Boosting in, yeah, you boosted in that Thor. But unfortunately one Thor doesn't cut it.
Yeah, that clump though for a second got a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, it did. It did. But, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, the level 3 weapons upgrade for the Hellbats. You know, back when where it was Marine Tank versus Zerg, we would see that as a dedication. You know, immediately get up to +3 weapons as soon as possible. But we'd be like, now it's been like lazier. I really like that he's so unfocused with it.
Oh my god, that one Hellbat seriously killed 1,000 Zerglings, it felt like. But once again, chasing off of creep for Moosegills, but he's able to do it because there's just not a lot here for Dayshi. The reinforcements now coming in. Perhaps he's going to need to fall back because he needs these Zerglings to make more Banelings. There's 66 more Lings on the way. Adrenal Glands and the Ultralisk Cavern coming up +3-3. As long as he doesn't throw away too much now, he'll be able to just comfortably sail towards that tech path. But still in a big supply lead. He's had on another turret, flies by, gets out of there alive. This gold base, well, it's actually going to become less of a target soon. Ironically enough, it's mining out, so it won't matter about harassing this anymore.
Yeah, which will be a bit of a breather for Dayshi, honestly.
No, that's actually going to be the opposite of a breather. You got to consider, he's been barely like taking these fights with a gold base of economy. Even if he takes a 4th at a blue base, suddenly he's like knocked down a peg, where Moosegills has got his own gold base back up.
I'm not sure it'll affect so heavily in like this late game because they're gonna have 3 other bases. I don't know.
They're all starting to mine out. He's like, I wouldn't
His
say he's
production will
relying.
stay the same.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say he's relying on the gold base, but this gold base would be the difference of like having a bank versus not. You know, if Banelings collide, if Zerglings take out this 4th, how screwed is Dayshi is the question.
I guess so. The mutants going into the main production is constantly. That's what's most annoying about this map is that they can hit the gold and then go straight to the production. Or it would be the production if Dayshi didn't spread it out a little bit.
You know, I really like. Oh, hang on. Medivac's getting a little bit scared there. But I like the building armor coming down, actually. For a Planetary Fortress, it makes a world of difference against Zerglings, especially ones with Adrenal Glands.
He might be better off just lifting this one, cancel at the last second. Does not do it, though.
Oh, those Banelings are going to collide. Oh, these SCVs are screwed. Everything here is going to die. Oh, my God.
Monster kill.
Yeah.
And he bursts the Banelings. Oh, my God. What a sneaky move.
Oh, luckily the army didn't go up that way, so that will be useful for later for sure. Mutas also attack the main at the same time.
Moosegills Banelings off of creep have had better connections than anyone I've ever seen on creep. I don't know what magic this guy has going for him.
It's the surprise factor, you know. As a Terran player, you are running up and your army's entirely grouped, and because you don't expect them to go off of creep. If you have your time and you take your time, you start spreading out, you put the Wood Mines in a good position, and then of course getting off the creep is just suicide. But like Moosegills has always been surprising Dayshi on creep, and then just chasing off it after he already dealt a lot of damage.
31 Banelings, 6 Ultralisks, and let's not forget about the 19 Mutalisks still roaming around the map. Well, that's gonna get thinned out up here, but he's also got these 2 Banelings sitting down here. Can roll in over there. Oh, the Ultralisk popping
off of the Marines. Yeah. What happened to the other Banelings that were off to the left? There was 8 of them.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. They must have been detonated by accident or something. I didn't see them go off, but you know, Moosegills' army at this point, Dayshi doesn't. He's got some Marauders, but I wouldn't say he's got enough to deal with the Ultra straight up. The Banelings are, well, actually a good spread out of Dayshi. We'll see if it's enough. Medivac's pick up one of the Thors, but I don't know. If the Mutalisks weren't alive, this would be different. But because they are, this is very deadly.
Oh, he even saves a couple of Marines. He really, really thins out the Muta count, which is a super big help. And suddenly, what looks like another swamp. Look at the supply.
Man, Dayshi, you know, we're talking about Moosegills having magic off a creep. Dayshi's the only guy who can be like down in supply all game and still manage to win a game, and it's kind of starting to make that happen. Now, it's only starting to make that happen, not there yet, but he takes down the gold base from Moosegills, so knocks him down a peg. Moosegills does not have a huge bank behind this. Because he's been relentlessly throwing Banelings after Banelings after Banelings away into Dayshi's army, it's been costing him. And looks like those 2 Wood Mines, or 2 Banelings did sneak back over to get some SCV kills, so... I don't know. I'm just I'm shocked at the way this game's been going. Even though it's been a standard matchup with standard units and players playing, you know, TVZ, it's been anything but standard with engagements all game.
Yeah, this like Ultralisk switch, it wasn't necessarily because of the Ultralisk, it was just it signaled Dayshi to start winning. It's like or something.
Oh, there's
because
more
now he's
families.
starting to drop, he's starting to take really
does.
good engagements.
That is a scary. Whoa, what are these drones doing? Yeah, with no more Mutalisks in the sky, there's nothing to stop those medevacs. So you're right. There's like full go ahead to just constantly drop if he wants to. Ultras are really scary if they can get on top of the army, but they're slow and clumsy, so responding to drops not their strong point. Needs lots of links for that. And granted, he's got 3/3 and adrenal glands, but I mean, Dayshi's position is looking really nice. I thought this was gonna be much worse for him once he lost that gold, when he lost the planetary down here, but he was able to recover, and Moosegills, quite frankly, hasn't yet.
I think the game really boiled down to while Moosegills was taking really great engagements off of creep, he was constantly trading and not dealing much economic damage. Even when taking on the planetary, he had another orbital or two to go ahead and put over there, and 46 SCVs is not that bad at this stage. So Moosegills has never been able to really accrue a bank. So when he switched over to Ultralisk without a bank, he got 6 Ultralisk, but not enough money for the fodder that makes it so powerful.
Yeah, or even producing more banelings behind them. I mean, the thing is, when Ultra's Kaiser Blade is great, nothing's going to outburst the baneling with 3/3.
Yeah, and you know, Ultras need help. That's just like that's they need help. They need queens, they need fungals, or they need mutilas to make sure that they're just not, you know, out positioned.
You know, it's weird. I almost feel he would be doing better without the Ultras. Sad to say. He
I think so as well.
He would have put more emphasis on replacing the Mutalist. There would have been more banelings to like just constantly produce behind this. I mean, the Ultras are good units if you can retain enough of them, but as we see the ramp, as you talked about earlier, being abused, the Ultra's too fat to go down here.
Yeah, they're absolutely terrible in this position. This is a gold mine for a Terran player.
No, Zombie, the gold mine was up here. You already took it. Anybody? Oops. Wrong thing. Anybody? Anyways, the engagement go down right now. The Ultra's getting shredded to bits. This is looking pretty good for Dayshi. Moosegills gonna tap out. GG.
That was even hard. Like Dayshi, I don't even think he microed that much. He just like blocked the ramp.
There was like 5 instances where that game though where I was like so afraid Dayshi was going to die. Like Moosegills.
Yeah. Moosegills never had a bank, and Dayshi never really got broken. You know, he was getting pushed back, but not broken.
Well, an all kill for Dayshi, ladies and gentlemen. We had an anticlimactic ending, but a very hyped reward here as Complexity Dignitas will fall 0-5 to not Millenium, but to Dayshi as he locks down an all kill for the season. So congratulations to him.